So effectively citizen's arrest. You can only do that if that's an indictable offence. Okay. So if you suspect that person has committed an indictable offence, you may remain there until the police turn up.
I actually see all police as pro-vivisection.
Well, why is that?
Because I see you regularly, I mean, I've not been here for 2 minutes, flaunting the rules, being selective, applying laws to us heavy-handedly to shut us down, when all we want to do, we're not here for any gain, we're not here for personal gain, we're here because we truly believe something terrible goes on there that we want to stop.
Bear with me.
And we also, and now, you need to be present to make sure we do it in a lawful manner. Yeah. And all I see is constantly the rules not applying to us. Because the rules don't apply to them, do they? Okay. And I always say, if you want us to be, I don't know, more compliant and not get overly heated, show us that it's a fair system. Because we don't feel like it is.
Yeah, you're right.
You're the first police officer.
I can't expect to come swanning down here and expect you guys to sort of respect me. Respect's earned for a kick-off. Now, respect's not just earned on an individual, it's earned on a police service, on any establishment. You have to earn that kind of respect.
Do you know that my first encounter with the police with regards to protest, it was here a while ago, and the first time I ever come across the police force is where I actually sort of made the comment, if they weren't beagles and they were Alsatians, German Shepherds, your colleagues, the dogs that make sure you go home safe at the night time, the things that will fucking die for you to make sure you go home to your missus, can you imagine if they was in, how does that bother you? And do you know what he did? And I swear, he assaulted me. He hit me and he knocked me down in the middle of the road over there. Because he didn't like the fact, it hit a nerve that I said, this is your German Shepherds in there. They're the thing that'll jump in front of a bullet, go into that building, and I'm saying they're not beagles anymore. It's a German Shepherd, and it's actually been processed, and he didn't say a word. I said it to him and a female police officer, and he struck me and knocked me down the road.
So your first experience of the police down here was negative experience?
Of course. I actually went to another police officer and said, will you report it? And he refused to take a report. And then you wonder why we get a little bit cheeky, because you're telling us these aren't the rules anymore. Yeah. As soon as you come on here, I pay 80 grand a year taxes. I've driven 200 miles. I'm not here for anything. I'm trying to do a good thing. And I don't know. It saddens me. And it has to change.
But it is changing now. Have you been down to Camp Beagle?
Yeah.
You've been down. You've sort of seen that.
Yeah.
So I spend most of my time down Camp Beagle, which is why I know a lot of the guys down here that mostly go down Camp Beagle. And we're doing some massive changes in the way that we police the protest, the situation down there. We've scaled back the police massively, and that is not just because we've decided as police, but it's from talking to members of Camp Beagle, through talking to Luna, through talking to Tim, through talking to some of the guys here, and saying, what do you want to see from policing? What would make you? Because we want to facilitate the lawful, the peaceful protest. Peaceful doesn't mean quiet; it means lawful. We want to facilitate that. We also need to, whether or not you agree with this, we also need to facilitate the business running because it's a lawful business. So we have to do that. But how can we best do it? Sorry?
That's questionable.
Well, I know we've had these discussions before.
Is there any pending criminal prosecutions at the minute?
But the thing is I asked the questions to these guys. I said, what do you want to see from us that will allow you to have your protest, to shout and to do what it is that you want to do?
Okay.
But
I'll answer that question. Sorry to interject. But okay, how about then, bearing in mind you've made that statement, how about putting something behind it and giving me some sort of assurance that when you go home, you finish your shift, another guy stood there and he'll do something so small and so insignificant just to make sure they're not going to break traffic.
This is what we've done. I'll come on to what we've done. Right?
No, not what we've done. I'm just saying, if you want, you've asked me, what can you do in order to appease us and make us feel like we're accepted as part of the system that we want to change, and that it's not selective, and that you are impartial, and we don't see you as the enemy, because because we started to see, I have anyway, and I don't want to.
History of policing and protest doesn't paint us in a very good light.
No.
So,
put somebody there.
I can't promise you that I can take somebody off the front line, okay, who could be dealing with RTCs, domestics, missing people, to put them here in anticipation.
Just pause on that one. Right, the way around it would be if he stands in front of that vehicle and stops that vehicle from moving because they'll be committing a criminal offence once they enter the highway, then they will call the police will attend, and then you'll have to do something about it. That would be my advice to yourself. What do you think about it?
The problem is with that, okay, what are you doing? Okay, so are you standing in front? Are you standing in front of that vehicle and preventing it from?
Yes,
going
because it would prevent a criminal offence being committed.
Can I do that out of necessity? Defensive necessity?
Not like that. You're almost.
That would get the police in attendance, and no action would be taken against the person blocking the vehicle.
Potentially it could be.
No.
Think about this, okay? Look, what you're talking about doing effectively is citizens' arrest. You're talking about detaining somebody.
I wasn't about detaining.
No, that's just a suggestion from me. Let's hear the reply.
Okay, so talking. This is what you're talking about. You're talking about standing in front of a car that has got now the highway starts kind of at this point here. Okay, so you've prevented the car from entering the highway because its registration is and that's a summary only offence. Okay, it's a ticketable offence, so non-court offence. All right. So you're talking about technically you're detaining that person until the police turn up. You can only do that.
Is it possibly fending off a greater offence? You know, the mowing down of a child with consequence.
And we could go on and on and on about what that car could subsequently do. You know, but
just finish the sentence. What you're saying. Sorry.
We're talking about you standing in front of a car to stop a car leaving, so effectively detaining it, so effectively citizen's arrest. You can only do that if that's an indictable offence. Okay. So if you suspect that person has committed an indictable offence, you may remain there until the police turn up. It's not an indictable offence, it's to have an altered or covered index.
So would you agree that the member of the public wouldn't be familiar with an indictable and a summary definition, therefore their intention would be to stop the criminal activity?
I would suggest that if you're thinking of doing that,
no action,
consideration of doing that, I would suggest that you do your research before you put yourself in that position.
You can't assume people have time to do research. They just see something that's wrong and they try and prevent it.
I'm giving you time to do that now.
Yeah, no, I was giving you time to say, put your money where your mouth is, and have a couple of coppers here to stop it.
We can't afford. If we can afford,
you can't afford.
We can't afford just to lay two coppers here.
15 down to Camp Beagle. Because the truth is, you want Boris to get his taxes because he pays your bills. You're sewn into the fabric of the government, and the truth is, you're policing their rules. Their rules are murderous, and all we're saying is on the odd occasion where we actually write and we're saying, look, they're definitely breaking the law.
It would build a bridge, big time.
It would. We're definitely breaking the law. Come on, give us something. And you're even saying to me, you know, with all the nice words, yeah, but I'm not actually going to do that.
To build a bridge, we've got to do something that's proportionate.
Yeah,
it's very.
You speak to some of the members of Camp Beagle, and then you ask them, what it is that I've done, what the police have done, and what they've done to build bridges and build trust between us and them. You speak to them, and then you come back to me and say you've done nothing for Camp Beagle.
We're not saying
in
that.
order to build bridges. What I'm saying is we can do everything we can that's proportionate and reasonable.
Do you want me to make it dead simple? If I walk in there now, just walk in there, hands in my pockets, walk in there, will I get arrested for trespass?
No, I will remove you.
Okay.
Ask me what power.
No, I'm not interested. No. You know what? I'm not overly au fait with the law.
I'll tell you the law.
I'm actually I'm fine. There's no point because you won't actually. You'll tell me what the law is.
For your benefit.
You won't enforce it.
For your benefit.
Tell me what you will do hypothetically, but you won't actually do it.
I will.
So you'll put somebody here.
No. You're talking about.
It's sort of your inspector that's got the power to put someone in, not you. You're a PC owner.
I mean, I can suggest it. I can suggest it. Of course I can.
He wants a promise which he can't give. That's understandable. But what I'm saying is, if he saw something from you that would be an attempt to build a bridge, obviously is not what you mentioned earlier about Camp Beagle and the other people, the other instances. He's not seeing it as it. So all he's saying is, I'd love to see something positive from you that will go in his favour when he sees things being done wrong. And the ladies just said, the Victoria ladies just said, there is pending criminal convictions on this place.
I'm not aware of that, but if that's what you're saying.
So when you tell me that the business is a lawful business, you don't actually know that yet, do you? The courts are yet to decide that.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the police are concerned, this is a lawful business. Until we're told otherwise,
at the moment in time,
court ruling that all of a sudden pops out of nowhere and suggests that it's not lawful, then obviously we will act on that. But at the moment, this is a lawful business. Under the Animal Scientific Procedures Act, this is a lawful business, as with MBR. Now, whether or not some people agree with that, of course, it's always going to be a very, 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 very,
of course,
contentious issue.
Even with things like
But
landfills and
the matter
stuff,
is, it's a law for business.
At the moment in time, yeah.
And at this moment in time, we're stood here, it's law for business. If tomorrow it wasn't, if the week after it wasn't, then obviously it would be different.
So
today, as we stand here, it is.
If
I'm trying to be communicative.
Oh, are you on comms?
Yeah, go ahead, Dalton. Potentially, yes. I'm not entirely sure though. You might want to give us some more description for that. I'm not kind of totally state 12 my voice, so I'll have a proper chat with you in a minute, mate. But potentially, now you mention it.
Potentially what, Cat?
Is it me?
Yes, yes.
Potentially what, Cat? Come on, spill.
Potentially, Tim's going to kick off.
Okay.
Have they said somebody of interest might be there?
God, the voices in my head, and that's just from there.
The old GDPR days where you could have your radio.
This is nothing to do with this.
He's a nice man. He even signed my birthday card.
Did
I did. You saw it. No, I dealt with a funeral yesterday, and that's what this was.
Oh,
we were talking about how to call them out.
Are you primarily police liaison every day?
So I'm a neighbourhood policing officer in the town of Chatteris. I don't know if you're geographically aware of this area, but town of Chatteris, 20 miles that way, neighbourhood policing officer. We are specifically selected for previous track record in kind of similar negotiating type jobs. Do you want to do PLT training, police liaison team training? We go on a course, we do all that kind of stuff. But my primary job is a neighbourhood policing officer. More lately, over this past kind of 2-3 months, more lately it's been centred around Cambeagle and Labcorp. What's that? Are we getting bombed or something? Is that, what's that?
Well, that's causing alarm and distress to the public, but carry on. So,
causing it to me, I know.
would you call yourself, as well as PLT, would you call yourself as a protest removal team?
No, we don't do that. So we have PRTs, protest removal teams. We have those within the county. We don't have fit officers, as in intel gatherers. And I know a lot of people confuse a PLT with an intelligence gatherer. I'm not allowed to enter intelligence concerning any operation that I'm on.
Yeah.
If I was to be stood here and collected all those indexes, I don't know why I would do, but let's say I did, and then went to submit that intelligence on our policing systems, it would get kicked back to me, and they would simply say, you cannot submit that intelligence because it's in relation to this operation.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And even sometimes they make a conscious effort of leaving that off the uniform, just to show them that.
Some do.
Yeah.
It's you will always get some that will. I don't think intentionally. I will always wear mine. When I go down to Cambeagle, we have an arrangement. I don't turn it on. I think it's a trust thing.
Yeah, that's it.
And you'll see it's not on now.
Yeah.
You know it's on because obviously you see the screen, you see the flashing.
So I can see that you're making efforts to actually win them over, to build the trust and to form that relationship, which is great. And you have got certain skills, I can clearly see that, of how you deal with people. So I've seen much worse.
There are much.
Yeah. like the example of the gentleman there. He mentioned a dog breed. And it wasn't.
And it's not on. No. The only thing that I all right, guys. Local guys, don't worry. They're not here for you.
They're just getting their lovely high vis on.
My main thing is that these guys, you guys, do a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
Peaceful protest does not mean quiet. Peaceful protest means that it doesn't fall into disorder, crimes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is why we have the Convention of Human Rights to allow this. And this is absolutely fine. And it's up to me really, partially up to me, is to explain to people, to protesters, activists, supporters, whatever, is what that law is. We had a discussion about the law a minute ago. But to say that this is fine.
Yeah.
Standing out in front of vehicles, and we've had a bunch of that go on. Standing out in front of vehicles, obstructing the highway, almost causing an accident is not fine. Some people are not totally aware of all of that.
Yeah.
Now there's a whole bunch of arrests that could have happened down on Cambeagle and here, not today, but previously. But because of a bit of kind of an education and an advice stance rather than just arrest, just advise, persuade, advise, 5-step appeal, that sort of thing. we've avoided a whole bunch of arrests, and actually people have got a better understanding of,
and that's it.
Of where that qualified right, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly ends, and where it then subsequently goes into criminal activity.
And that is actually the aim of myself as well, saying people you can do things but don't push it too far, because
bear with me, mate,
because this will happen. Now just quickly then, 2 points that I'm going to say. Obstructing the highway, would you class obstruction of the highway of being on their private entry, their mouth to their land, or would you class it on the highway? That's clearly defined.
So far as I'm aware, and I've seen the highway maps, is the highway starts here at this gate point.
Okay,
so this area here is classed as public highway. However, that said, what I would do if Lisa, for instance, was stood out in front of a car and stopped it with a placard, I wouldn't dive in there and feel a collar sticker in a van and arrest it. I would say, just step out of the way. You know, just let the car go. Because protest, particularly animal rights, is an emotive subject. We have an understanding, should have an understanding that it's an emotive subject. So we just ask, come on, step out of the way, or persuade. It's what the 5-step appeal.
Yeah, of course, that's great.
So rather than arrest, just.
So
there's human ways of dealing with it.
So, do you know if I showed you land registry deeds that puts Labcorp's land registry boundary just here? Yeah. Then, would you agree that the land registry is now taking the lead on where the public highway is?
You are asking me a question I can't give you an answer to.
Yeah, no, I've covered.
As far as I know, talking to the highways department, the highway starts here. So as it dips in, the highway starts. So their boundary finishes at their fence, and the highway starts here. If there's something that overrides that,
the land registry deed would.
So then obviously I would look at that. And, but you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I've been told that's where the highway starts.
Of course.
If someone shows me something different, I would obviously adjust my policing stance and say, well, actually, this is the highway, so therefore that block of the highway would fall onto this one.
On your basis that the highway starts there, would you say that any injunction that is in place would affect this area here?
Are you talking about a civil injunction?
Yeah.
Aren't you? I don't get involved in civil injunctions. That's for Labcorp.
Okay. Now, the very last thing that I've got then, because I know you're bored of this.
No, you can crack on.
I'm just trying.
It gives me a reason to stand here.
Once a protester crosses the boundary, right? If they're asked once to leave, if they don't leave, then they're being a trespasser. The security on site, they've got plenty of it. They can use reasonable force to remove the trespasser. And if they resist, it then becomes aggravated trespass. Then you can be called to step in, right? So these guys are certainly not, from what I've seen, crossing the boundary, and there's plenty of security there to know that they can push them out in case they do. So I know you've got 3 PCs on scene now. I think 1 would be enough.
To be honest with you, and I will be honest, I have no idea why they've come. They're local.
Hey, and on that subject, for the camera, do you see what I mean? So when you mentioned earlier to the gentleman about could you please, for me, just to build the bridge, arrange for someone to be at 4 o'clock. Like, I know you can't book an officer, but
I will ask. I will ask a question.
And
that I will promise you. I will ask a question to get that done.
So in his eyes, he's now seeing all this when there's nothing happening, and the security are well equipped to remove us if we did enter. So you see what
I promise you that I will ask that question.
Thank you.
I won't be on duty, but I promise you, hand on heart, that I will ask that question to have an officer.
That'll go down well
later on.
That'll go down well.
And if that helps, then that small gesture, if that helps,
it would.
That's going to make my life.
You heard how passionate. You heard how passionate he was. Now, your point of view, right? When you say report it online, all we could possibly say it was a red Ford Fiesta leaving this address at this time. Now, without an index, there might be more than one in there. You really are not going to be able to pinpoint who that was. And also, it's the driver as well.
So we would be able to. So simply, put quite simply, if a vehicle leaves here with its index numbers removed or covered, I wouldn't, but we have an investigations team, so it could probably come to me. Sorry?
You could have a copy of the CCTV too. Okay.
So we could easily find out which member of staff it left.
So in that case,
have a look at CCTV, say who was it, and then we could then deal with it from there.
In that case,
that's what I mean. It is really simple.
It would have been nice then for you, knowing what you know, that you can have access to that willy-nilly, because a subject access request takes a long time for us to do that. But if you can get that quickly.
But we could do
Yeah,
that.
okay, if you can you should have said to him, just tell me what day and
Kinda
time it
tried
happened.
to, but he wasn't listening.
Okay,
he was
okay,
kind of
okay.
doing it. So you can maybe tell him a little bit later on.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we can do that. So there's some crimes that need to be investigated in fast time, obviously where there's a threat risk harm is far higher.
Yeah.
There's some crimes that can be investigated in slower time.
Yeah,
Traffic
yeah.
offences on that lower end of the traffic scale can be investigated more in slow time. There's no point rushing in
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but we can get CCTV, we can have a look at it. It would be an absolute dollar to find out who's
Yeah,
driving.
yeah.
CCTV would capture them driving on the highway with blanked out index numbers or just anything like that.
Yeah, as soon as
it would
they
be
enter.
a slow time
Yeah.
inquiry that would get done.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you
Because
so
if we
much.
didn't, how can I stand here and say you're treated fairly, they're treated fairly, everyone's
Yeah,
treated
yeah.
fairly? Because
Well,
actually it looks more one-sided if I don't do that.
It's just great for the protesters to know that the police are actually here for us. You know, I know you're here for the business as well, but they've got their own security. They don't really need the police.
Most of these guys here that we're looking at, a lot like Camp Beagle, know that I am there for them equally for the other side as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Obviously-
speak to them every day, but obviously there's some guys that never met me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And most of them know me by name.
Did you say your name?
Kurt. My name's
Kurt 312 from which station?
I'm from March Police Station.
March?
Which is,
I've never
I don't
been
know,
there.
you local,
No, I've never been there.
March is take you about an hour to get there.
Right.
From here.
Okay.
So yeah,
Alright.
that's me. You can Google me if you like. I mean that sounds a bit shit. That's what everyone says, but I'm a neighbourhood policing officer in Chatteris, so you quite easily my photos there. It's all up there.
It's
all
Chatteris
like
in
so
March.
So Chatteris just outside of March. So I'm
Oh,
based at March and I work in Chatteris. So I kind of book on at March Police Station because Chatteris hasn't got one. Travel to Chatteris, do neighbourhood policing, etc. and so forth. But I'm there doing youth club stuff and all kinds of stuff on the internet. So I don't like my photo taken, but I'm there unfortunately. But by all means, have a look. That's who I am. I'm keep no secrets from any of these guys.
So before we depart then, I'm just going to go across the road now. When you've been situated at Beagle and here, I've never been to Beagle.
You want to though?
Have people been up with a drone to have a look over?
At Beagle? Yeah. Pretty
Yeah,
much daily.
you're not no problem with that?
Personally, not, but there is an investigation ongoing in terms of the legalities of it, but I don't get involved in investigations team.
Okay, well,
It's
that's what I'll be
something
doing
to do with me.
next.
I'll just stand here and be nice to folk.
Yeah.
As Tim knows, you know.
Yeah. Is it Kurt?
Kurt, yeah.
T on it, then with a T, yeah?
Yeah,
Kurt.
K-U-R-T.
Yeah.
And yeah.
All right,
So I've
okay.
got nothing to hide.
All right, well, I'm going to get the drone up then, get some final shots of my visit
Can you
here.
get my good side? You're going to get me.
Yeah, well,
Excellent.
you'll notice I've positioned myself with the sun behind me.
Yeah,
And
you know.
you haven't got sunglasses either, you need them.
If I had sunglasses on, I'd take them off because I don't like speaking to people with sunglasses on because that
Yeah.
again is a barrier in my opinion.
Yeah, it's actually against, it's within your policy not to, isn't it?
So that's the way I see it anyway. But
Thank you, Kurt. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
you're very welcome.
You'll see yourself on YouTube, my friend. And just before we get the drone up, they've actually sent another vehicle, this time a van. And we all know why vans are required, don't we? When arrests are made and people are taken to custody. So it don't really give a good impression for the protesters that more and more police arrived, you know what I mean? But looking at the collar numbers, I think they are all PCs. We don't normally turn them on, mate, when we're at protests. Do you want to switch it off? Sorry, did you hear me? We don't normally turn them on at protests. There's a policy within the force. Just switch it off for us then. 232? What's happened?
Oh, it's PC Shales. How you doing, buddy? You alright? You alright, Dalton Shales? How you doing, buddy?
To document it, please.
Has it cautioned you yet?
There's another van turn up. Excuse me, can I just say
No, I didn't hear you.
Okay, can I explain it over there?
No, just tell me now before I go anywhere, so I
You've
know
been
what I've done
arrested for
wrong.
racial aggravated common assault,
Race-
which happened on the 24th of the 4th, 2020, and that was in Cambridge, okay? So you don't have to say anything that may harm your defence. If you don't mention one question, subject later on, or anything you do
Just
maybe
wait to see what evidence they've got, mate, before you say out.
Martin, can we go over that way?
Yeah, of course. I've got you.
So he's been arrested for an offence that happened on the 24th of April.
Protest, don't let them stop you doing what
You
you're
need
doing.
Jill McIver, mate. Jill McIver, the solicitor.
Jill McGovern, Credence Law, call her.
Which station are you taking him to?
So when we heard earlier on comms,
It's just a shame you don't put similar sort of efforts into stopping the murder. I'm coming for you.
Remember
Exactly.
Jill McIver.
Protect the puppy killers, protect the animal abusers, but arrest the innocent
Yeah, the 24th of April, mate.
protesters.
Martin,
No,
I have to
no,
search you.
no, okay, no, I have
Wanna do a
absolutely nothing.
out here? Okay.
Alright, no, okay.
Don't any belts or anything like that?
No.
Any calls
Oh,
underneath it?
Chica!
I'm not taking
No, but you worry, don't you?
Jill's with us 24/7.
I told you to come and take me away because they're just, I don't know, they're just absolutely vindictive.
Credence Law, Jill.
Yeah.
You ask for Jill, Credence Law, she's
Okay.
Cambridge.
Martin.
She'll be down.
Yeah,
She'll
okay,
come to you.
okay, thank you.
I'm going to have to remove that off you because I
Okay.
can't put you in the back of the van with it.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, do you mind just removing that from around your neck? I'll let you do it because I don't want to fly over your face.
No.
So I stick all you police officers to come over.
I just without my glasses, there's no hidden drugs. I'll get a back off you guys.
Is there any
They're
medication
not
that I need to
exploding
be aware
ones, are they?
of? Any medication that you need to take? Any conditions that I need to be aware of that might affect your stay in custody?
I've got, can you make provision that I'm going to get something to eat this time? Because the last couple of times when you kept me in custody for like some 12 hours, you've not fed me, leave me. No, sort of sat
Other
on the
than
floor.
the ADHD, is there any other medical conditions that I need to be aware of?
No, it's all good. We've got
Is it
aircon,
Jill
it's
at
bloody
Credence
hot.
Law? Yes.
And do you mind
Jill
just
McGibbon.
removing your
Oh,
hat just so I
thank
can
you
do
so
this?
much,
Nothing
Jill.
under it.
Down. Is it
Black
McGibbon?
gorgeous.
Jill McGibbon, Credence Law. Credence Law. Call her, she's a barrister, she'll be down.
Damn it, you should have gone to the hotel.
Credence
Say
Law.
that, that's the...
You're bad, you know what, I'll
Written
bring it
down.
You're bad people. Do you get it? You're really bad people.
Well done.
Yeah, well done.
Well done. We're with you, yeah?
You
Where are you
protect
taking him?
Credence Law. Call her. Credence.
Where are you taking
protecting
him?
the puppy and
Where are they taking you? Where are you taking him?
So at the minute we'd see availability, but either be Fortwood or Cambridge.
Right, football, where's
Thorpwood, Peterborough.
Portwood, okay.
They'll probably change mine and go somewhere else, and that's what they used
Yeah.
to do.
so there you go. When we heard Kurt earlier get the comms in his ear and he says, oh, it's something to do with a funeral that I was dealing with, it was control actually saying, is Martin on site? That's my guess anyway. Let me know what you guys think, if that was what's happening. And that was the reason they sent a van. I thought it was strange them sending a van here with a cell in the back. So yeah, it just shows, don't it? He says he's not an intelligence gatherer, but how would the intelligence have got back to control if Kurt wasn't here looking and speaking? Sergeant, can I ask a question? Do you know police liaison constables?
Sorry?
Do you know police liaison, PLTs?
Yeah.
They're not really, they shouldn't be really passing intelligence back to control about the protesters. Who's here, should they?
They're police officers, so they're duty bound to share information for safeguarding purposes.
Yeah, it's just the bridge that they're trying to build and the relationship they're trying to build with the protesters. And now they know that when Kurt got the question, is Martin there? And he said yes. That's not good, really. I know, in your opinion, he was right to say that, wasn't he?
It's not necessarily my opinion. He's still a police officer, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's still expected to hold the role of office of
Yeah.
constable, isn't he?
Can you see how that?
Regardless what his specialist training may be.
Yeah. He really didn't want to say it, I could tell, but he had to. You see how that bridge is going to be damaged now?
Yeah, but that's for them to
Yeah,
work on,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. And hopefully,
Sorry.
yeah, go on, that's fine, you can go now.
Zach, I'm going to get someone to come up and set them up anyway. The fan.
I'll put the aircon, I'm going to have to get the check.
Just so I know, does the aircon work in here without the engine running?
So, as you just heard, the van one does.
Yeah.
So, for the cage in the back, it does, but for the driver in the other bit, it will not.
Right, okay.
For your chap in the back, but as you can see, the engine is not on, but it is in the back.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I've always wondered that. So yeah, an arrest for a previous offence in April. And we're now in June. We're now on the 15th of June. Taylor, just quickly while we walk, do you know the requirement for epileps now? Is that gone?
I'll tell you, if you speak to our corporate communications, they'll be able to advise you on
Yeah,
that.
I do like that. You are showing it, so at least that's one tick. But I thought epileps were a must.
No, okay. Any questions, mate? If you direct it to our corporate communications, they'll be able to advise you.
What
on
force?
That.
What force is it?
It's Cambridgeshire Police.
Right. Okay.
Cambridgeshire Constabulary.
All right. Cheers, Taylor.
No worries. Thank you.
You know, it's just like nothing's uniform. Nothing's the same. So you see, Taylor's got his number there on a big badge. 1156 has got the epileps with a number there. You know, you just expect it for the public to get used to it and easily identify. Everyone does the same thing. Some have got epileps, some haven't.
I know we have to have the collar brunch show, but that's about as far as my knowledge.
Yeah,
I'm afraid. So.
Yeah, it can be anywhere, can't it?
Yeah, as long as it's reasonable.
Yeah, put it on your toe, on your boot.
Hopefully no one's looking at them.
Oh, they're very shiny. No, do you have to keep them in a good condition? Really?
Don't have to.
Do you have any sort of parade inspection?
No, you do in training, but out of training you don't.
Right, okay. So only in training you have to bull your boots.
Training is a personal preference.
Yeah, all right. They're standing under the trees getting some shade, ain't ya? Right, yeah, that's enough chatting to the police. Let's get this drone up. My friend, are you okay? Are you okay if I take a drone over this place just to get some aerial footage?